British Rail's Class 13. Once upon a time, in a land far away, British Rail decided that they needed a shunter to work in their Tinsley hump yard that wouldn't ground out on the hump, funnily enough. Now, they had a couple of 08s and they were ideal, but the problem was they're a bit small and a bit underpowered. So BR decided to link two of them together permanently with a few modifications for ballasting and extra weight and call them a Class 13. Yes, I know maths quite clearly not their strong point, but there was already a locomotive called a Class 16. So here we are. I think the naming convention would follow from the Class 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12s. 13 would be the next Gronk based class, I suppose, so I think that's where the naming convention came from. Now, as yet, there's nothing ready to run for a Class 13 on the market. I know there's a few places that will charge you 800 quid for the pleasure of converting one. If you've got the money and you really want one that badly and you don't want to use any effort yourself, I suppose you could spend £800 on getting one made. I think there is a better way though, and dare I say it, a way that involves actually modelling as well. Funny that, isn't it, wanting to do some railway modelling. All we need is a few bits and pieces from various manufacturers and we can get two Class 8s into one Class 13. Let's take a look at how we do that, shall we? Right, so we're building a Class 13 then. Question is, which one's going to be the slave? Eeny, meeny, that one. So, the first thing I need to do with this Bachmann Class 8 is the body off and get inside the damn thing and make it ready to become a slave unit. There's a lot of work to be done in here versus the Hornby version. There's bits of metal chassis and flooring that are going to need sorting out, but I happen to have a Bachmann 08 and I don't have a Hornby super detailed 08, and I'm not going to go and spend 80 quid to rip one apart. So here we are. So I'm going to strip this down and we're going to film it after I've finished. Right, so we've got the body off. See, there's a lot of plastic to hack away. Oh, don't lose that side detail, Craigie. So we're not going to have a motorised slave unit. It's just going to be essentially a pretty looking tender. Cabs off, we'll keep that for reference later on. Time to get this off, that's all metal. So here we are, hacksaw time I think. Right then, so if you remember the back of the cab, it had all the detail on there. I just cut most of it away and then used the old Dremel just to work it down so it was level. Now when the rest of the kit comes, that attaches to the back of this. So then the whole thing will get mounted. It goes on there like that and you can sort of see where we're going with it. Just needs that kit attaching. Nothing too difficult so far. Weight will be an issue, but again I could just add loads of weight into this, I think. And again I did kind of want to have the sound and speaker in here, but we'll see what happens. We've got the motor block and chassis out and we've got the rolling chassis left there. Now these wheels seem to hold in place, and if I can, I'd like to make use of the pickups. The thing is, this is now very light, very light, and that's very heavy, so I need to try and find a way of getting this back into there, or shaky hand cam, adding weight to this. Alright, fast forward a couple of days and the cab conversion kit from, is it NIU? I'm going to call it NIU Models, has arrived. So let's get this bad boy open and offer it up and see what we need to adjust, because inevitably there's always things you need to adjust for these sort of things. Let's have a look. So out the box you get a little bit of information about the Class 13 and its history. We also have a little bit of an installation guide. This is pertaining to the Hornby model, not the Bachmann one, which I am using. So this for me is mostly just decorative. So we have the initial card part there. I have to say that is actually rather well detailed. I mean, there's enough detail there as a starting point, and you can weather it up and add what you want and what have you. So that's good, that's nice. I'm probably going to cut them tabs off because I don't think I'll need them. We also get enough of the increased weight buffer beams to do both the slave unit and the main unit, with thankfully what appears to be holes for an NES, actually. Straight coupling bar, which will go into the NEM socket, so we can even couple it together. And it's even got holes for the buffers to go in as well. So all the hard work really has been done for us. So this is awesome. All I need to do is fit it in place. It's even got handrails on it. Look, brilliant. So I'd have to cut those down. Get this offered up, cut down what needs cutting down, and then give it a spray. Now, I've got the paint on order, so that'll have to wait. First things first, let's try and get this on the model. So first thing I'm doing is just removing all these little bits of uneven flashing from the model, offering it up every now and again, just to make sure it fits. Cutting off those little legs there, because they're not going to be needed. I believe on the Hornby version they're used for screwing them in, but there's no use here. So we're going to get rid of them, and then glue that to the back of the actual cab. Mill down the chassis with our good old-fashioned Dremel, just to make sure we've got a nice flat surface to mount everything to. And then the same on the model. I have to take just a little bit off of the floor. Now be careful because it's quite thin to begin with and you don't want to do too much. But just slow and steady wins the race, guys. And that's just a case again of after each step, just making sure the bits and pieces of the kit still fit. Make sure they still offer up. This is backwards actually. I haven't realised yet, but that's backwards. Then it's the same thing with the buffers. We're just going to put the buffer stops in the end. They've already got holes drilled really, so it's just a case of pulling them off the model and sticking them in with a bit of super glue. Doing the same with the fronts and the backs. Now the smaller of the two buffer beams is for the front, the larger one is for the rear, and you get a set of 4 of these, so you get 2 for the backs, 2 for the fronts, 1 set for the slave, and 1 set for the the master unit. And just taking your time really will pay dividends in this whole endeavour, really. There's no sense in rushing. You may even need to mill away parts of the body that you didn't think you would need to mill away. Like, for example, with the buffer beams on the slave unit, they did need... what's the one I'm looking for? They needed milling back just a little bit and constantly trimming of little bits and pieces. But eventually, if you keep at it, you'll find they fit nice and flush. And then you end up with something which looks something like this. So there we are. Very happy indeed. Thursday night, come home. Another parcel from these ladies. Let's see what's inside it. Push! Red spray paint. Now, I'm not sure if this is the exact same red. DB Schenker red. However, once we've got it sprayed on and we've weathered things down and matted it off, I think it's going to work probably just as well, to be fair with you. Just going to give that a quick wipe down to get the dust and the loose powder off and what have you. And then I'm just going to go and spray this up. Nothing magic, just dirt, dirt, dirt. Easy enough. There we go. Okay. Now it looks very red at the minute. And for some reason, on the video it looks pink. But I promise you, it's not pink at all. It is a nice red. And to be fair with you, it's not far off the DB Schenker red anyway, so that needs to dry now for a good few hours overnight. Tomorrow we can look at detailing it and weathering it down and things, and we'll have hopefully a class 13. So here we go then. That's looking pretty good. I know it's shiny, it looks pink. I promise you now, it ain't pink. I need to paint the handrails white again, like on the original unit, and paint the roof black again, like on the main unit there. Once I've done that though, I think we're ready for detailing. It's looking pretty nice. Yes. So I was doing really well. Got the roof painted and I was about to start painting the details white again, and a big blotch of paint fell on the model. I tried to wash it off and washed all the roof paint off. So yeah, not happy. That's something for tonight, I think. Try again tomorrow when I'm not frustrated. So here we are then, the day after. And as you can see now, I think that looks pretty good. Managed to paint the rails, the grab rails. They look nice. Roof is done. Splodge, which I created. You can still see a little bit of it, but most of it has been removed. And when we further weather the locomotive, it's going to look even better. So the next step this evening is we're going to fit detail parts. I actually have a bag of these little detail parts I got from a Cura scale. These are left over from a wagon that I had. So I've got hook and drawbars, air brake pipes and things. I need to source a vac pipe for it, which I believe I have in my other box of tricks. So once I've acquired all the necessary bits and pieces, we're going to drill just a couple of holes in the beams. So a couple there, and a couple there. Let's see how we get on. You know what? I think we can call that a success. And it's just using the little bits I had left over in my spares drawer. I've just drilled some holes and stuck them in there. And you know what? It adds a nice little bit of detail. And of course my drawbar here. That means I can still use a tension lock coupling system with them. And it works really well. So I've got those on the front there. And on the rear as well. Nice! Okay, so a few bits of progress there, and now I have the task of putting the new numbers on there. Now, thankfully, I've got some good quality transfers from Railtech, so I'm going to have a go fitting those now. First time doing this, so let's see how we get on. Alright, so that was actually pretty painless. There we go, got the transfers on there now. They're straight enough for my eyes, I think. Sorry about the poor lighting in here, it's dark, it's winter. I don't have the combination of my daylight light and the actual daylight at the minute, so I really do apologise for the poorness of the quality of the video. But that was actually really easy to do, so a big thank you to Steve at Railtech Transfers for sorting these out for me. Really super quick service. I had these within a couple of days and really easy to apply, good quality. And I am heavy-handed, and they stood up to my poking and twisting and what have you, so nice one Steve, thank you mate. Right then, so it's now the following Monday and we've got the weathering done, we've got the kit fitted, painting done, everything else. The last step we're going to do is get the thing sound fitted. I'm going to go for a dual decoder setup. In the main unit I've got a DCC concept / AE decoder in there, just a basic DCC decoder, did a great job. That's fitted with a Stay Alive. So the drive unit has got power and it's reliable power. And in the slave unit, we're going to fit a Hornby ep70. I got this from Rails of Sheffield, got a great price from those guys. So do be sure to check Rails of Sheffield out if you want a decoder or indeed anything else. I know they've got a few sales on at the moment as well. So do check them out, link in the description guys. Let's crack on with sound fitting, shall we? So, I'm not going to labour the sound fitting process to this, because there's been a good few videos actually showing how to get things done. All I'm going to do is just show how I'm going to fit all the bits and pieces into that, and this is exactly why I've gone for a dual decoder setup. First of all, the AE decoder I've got in the main unit is affordable and it's simple and it does enough job for what I wanted to do. Second of all, I didn't think it was worth fitting £130 worth of ESU into this project. Yes, of course, ESU do make fantastic decoders. A lot of my locals have got ESU in there. But I think for what we need, the Hornby HM7000 will be absolutely more than enough. We've demotored the slave unit and we're going to fit the decoder. And we're going to select a appropriate speaker housing to fit in there. I think given the size we can afford to be quite bold actually, so we should get fairly decent sound from this as well because of the nature of the decoder. Now I want to retain the warranty on this just in case. These are good decoders, but every now and again You do get one that was sort of made on a Friday afternoon, and you do have to invoke the Hornby warranty thing. For that instance, what I'm going to do, because we're having to hardwire this, and you can see there we've got the wires for the pickups, we're only going to need 2 wires, red and black. So I've got one of these DCC Concepts 8-pin, I think they're called a call-out harness. Now all I've done is trimmed off the rest of the wires there, and I've only got the red and black because I only need the red and black. Now the rest of the wires are all the sort of crimped in there. If I can get the camera there we are. They're all sort of crimped in there and nice and protected. So if I ever want to add lights or anything else, I can still have enough wire left over and add them to it. As far as fitting it goes, it's nice and simple. All we need to do on our Hornby decoder is find where the orange wire is, which is usually top, looks like it on this one is top left. Yes it is, so that one there, that's indicated by a little 1. And if you look on here, we can quite clearly see the orange wire. The camera won't focus because it's been difficult, is top left as well. So if we just plug that in like that, so they match up nicely, give it a nice firm push, that's in there, and that's everything. Now what we'll do is we'll just put a bit of tape over the top of that, stop those from potentially catching out on the decoder or part of the body or the runners for the pickups. But the next job is finding a suitable speaker housing to fit in here. So we'll have a look at that now, shall we? Should be fairly easy and simple to do. So the little pigtail on this is actually really convenient. So we just get the decoder and then the speaker one goes in there, which I think is this way around. It will only go in one way. And I'll just put my nails on either side of that little flange thing and just push it in gently. There we are. We're also going to fit a Stay Alive to it. Now I do have a Hornby power pack, but you can, on the back 2 tabs there, just solder your own in if you want. But for the sake of this, with the ease of installation, I'm going to just use the Hornby power pack, which I'll go get now. Here we are, Hornby power pack. It'd be more than enough for running the sound. And again, we're just gonna offer that up, and again it'll only go in one way, so don't force it, and they're nice and easy. Okay, sorted. So we've got everything in place. Let's try and find a speaker housing. This one looks like it might be okay. Put it like that. So that will actually fit in there quite nicely. We're not going to need these mounts. Use some scissors of doom. Cut the mounts off. We're not going to need them. Pull that off. Send the actress to the bishop. Again, quite difficult to show you this whilst filming, but we're going to try our best. Because the adhesive is really strong, which is good, but it does mean that if you miss, there we go. So that's in there nicely now. And then we'll just either put a bit of tape on the back of that, or a bit of glue, and then that'll set that in place. So there we are. Put a little bit of super glue on there. Then we can pop that in place. So whilst that's setting and doing its thing, we'll have a look at sorting out the pickups on this. So that's all drying, that's over there, that's fine, that's good. So even though we have wires from the existing pickups there, they're a bit old, they're a bit tired. So all I'm going to do is just trim them off at the edge there. So we're not going to need them. Get the wiring out of the way. And then the wires for the pickups, black and red, we're just going to solder these straight to this. And I'm going to try and leave a little bit of length on them, because it's good to be able to take the roof off, take the cab off, and actually be able to manoeuvre it and not have to worry about it getting stuck or whatever. So I'm going to get some blue tack, that always helps. And then we're going to try and get all this, first and foremost, mounted into the cab. Yeah, a little bit of blue tack just keeps it in place there. And I'm just going to take some electrical tape. I'm not going to swarf the decoder in it because it still needs to be able to breathe and whatever. And hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. I'm just going to put the wiring in there. The decoder going in here, like that, with the wiring. Yeah, so what I'll do is just run a tiny bit of electrical tape over the back of the decoder there, just a little bit. And what that's doing is just giving us a little bit of a shield, if you will. Tiny bit of blue tack just to help hold it in place. And I'm just gonna tape up the end of the socket there, because I do not want to risk this arcing out on anything and blowing up the decoder that we've just spent the best part of 60 quid on. So, okie dokie. Stay alive. Again, we're just going to get a bit of blue tack on the end there. I mean, black tack would be ideal for this, but I do not have any. So, funnily enough, because I haven't got any, I ain't going to use any. But again, just wrap the wires up, you'll be fine. There we are, so that's all in there now. Nice and snug, nothing's overlapping, nothing's underlapping. The wiring will just tuck in there nicely. There we are. And then all it is a matter of doing now is we're just going to shorten this wire a little bit, attach it to this, and then the moment of truth comes when we take it over to the layout and see if it works. Okay, a little bit of solder on the end of the old iron there. We're going to tin the edges of these wires, if you can see that, hopefully you can. There we are, that's tinned lovely. And we're going to tin with fresh solder. There we are. That's nice. Again, because we're not actually going to, we don't need the motor power, it really doesn't matter which way you solder these on. There we are. Okay, turn that soldering iron off. Again, DCC Concepts, really good little soldering iron this, affordable as well, so turn that off. Get everything back in there. Get this back on there. Everything fits in nicely. Let's get this over to the layout and see if it works. Okie dokie. So this is straight on the track. I've got it set to address 3 so you can see it's random. Let's see if the sound works. There we go. It sounds like a steam engine. And of course it won't move because there's no motor in there. Alright then, so nothing blew up. That's always a plus in my book, when things don't go boom. So quite clearly that now sounds like a steam engine, which is just, even with modeller's license, it's just completely wrong. So I now need to open the HM7000 app, apply the class 8 sound profile, which is free to download on there as well, and then I can mess with the volume as well. I mean, I don't think there's much point in messing with the chuff rate or the transition rate, because again it doesn't move, it's all going to be controlled by the main unit. I need to set that address to 1304, and I also need to set the slave unit's address to 1304 as well, so they both respond to the commands sent to 1304, which might sound a bit obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people get tripped up by that. And it's certainly going to be a lot easier doing it this way than it is trying to speed match two separate decoder families. So I'm going to get that sound profile installed, and then we'll have a look at the full thing when it's done. Right then, here we are. A couple of hours later, and it did take a couple of hours because I have had a little bit of trouble getting this thing sorted out. I do think I need to put some more weight in the slave unit because there's nothing in there at the moment, and the pickups are a little bit flaky, so they need to be more positively pressed against the back of the wheels. I think more weight needs to be added to that, but I think you'll agree now it's working. Now I know it's supposed to have 2 engine sounds and all that lot, but I am quite happy with this. I am quite happy with it, and once I get the weight issue sorted out, I think it's going to be just grand. Jolly good. Class 13 added to the roster. Very nice indeed. Right then, there we have it. We now have a Class 13 in DB Schenker Red, for some reason, on our layout. As you can see from the first step to the last step, it was enjoyable. There was a few moments where things got a little bit... Towards the end there, the pickups weren't working. That's because the pickups on the 08 are a very strange design in that they need to sit in front of the wheel, not behind it like they would normally, so they sit there. So the idea is if that's your wheel flange, normally they sit on the back of it. What you have to do is push them behind so they spring outwards. Now that I've done that, it's a lot more reliable. I've also added some of this DCC Concepts ledge shot. I put some of that in the front and the backs of the Locomotive as well as adding some good old-fashioned tyre wheel weights into the body, just to give it a bit more, there you go, some of these stuff. Give it a bit more ballast, if you will, just to make that slave unit really pick up the power from the track and keep the sound working well. Of course, got the power back in there, so that works wonderfully as well. So again, just like to thank Rails of Sheffield for getting the decoder out to me on time. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have been able to release the video when I did, and it certainly wouldn't have been ready for Wally. So thank you guys, superb service as always. Give Rails a check out in the description box below, guys, if you fancy anything. Especially decoders at good prices. And again, huge shout out to NIU Models for the amazing kit. Yes, I know it's for a Hornby 08, but it does work with the Bachmann 08 as well. There's just a little bit of extra work involved, which is what we need in this video. And as you can see, it works really, really well. And it looks fantastic once it's all painted up and it's in there, weathered down. It really does look an absolute treat. So I am super, super chuffed with all that. Very, very happy indeed. And of course, not forgetting Steve over at Railtech Transfers. 13004 is now official because it's got its running number. I know the slave cab didn't normally have a running number for the 13s, but they didn't come in DB Schenker Red either. And also I had one spare. I honestly thought I would need to use the spare as a practice, but I didn't. It's that easy. Even a buffoon such as me can make it work and look half decent and really, really good as well. So if you want to find out about any of the things that I've used in this week's video, there will be of course links in the description, folks, okay? Don't forget to click read more and it'll expand the full list for you there, so you can have a look and see what I've used and links and bits and pieces. Let me know what you think though. Do you like the Class 13? Do you think I've done it a disservice by making it in DB Schenker Red? Using what I had, of course, was a DB Schenker Red away and a little BR Green one, so the BR Green one got the chop, so to speak. But what do you think? Model license too far or just right? So what I want to hear down in the comments below, folks. Now, finally, I am going to World next week. I'll be with DCC Concepts all weekend, so if you want to come and see me, see them, and of course 13004, which hopefully will be running on one of their layouts, then please do pop along and say hello. So until next week, folks, I'll see you all soon. Take care. Bye bye. Oh, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe.